project, and he is a partner with a for-profit company on clean water, and how they go about teaching using business experiences, technology, strategic alliances to create this aquifera and create local businesses within the community. He too uses a lot of university collaborations to help with the research and implementation. Maybe? Yeah. So that's another question you guys can ask. And how he's grown over the years, the different regions he's at. He uses every opportunity, every network, every organization, every person that he knows to get the word out, to really pull together the network to get clean water to people who are sick and dying from drinking bad water. Investing Fairmount Minerals is actually the individual. Chuck Fowler is the one who said, Nancy, you're going to do a social entrepreneurship workshop. You need to get Bob. So that was our beginning network, and I think we're going to be able to continue that a long, long time. Engineers Without Borders, another. When you talk product, that's kind of engineering, but in order to implement, that's business, and to push it out to the people who really need it. Strategic alliances. Again, look, I think you talk to everybody. Everyone that you see, you talk about clean water and building these alliances. Interesting enough that there was an emphasis put on going to countries and having people within the country start a legal business, and you might want to ask him more about that whole situation with the difference between going into a country that doesn't have that legal arm. For people who can't afford the product, then there is a way that he's come up with to scale that price down to people who don't have enough money to buy it at the price that it is, which is also very reasonable in our terms. And at the very end, he made a very, very heart-wrenching comment to me, and that was that they really want to link a mother's love for her children and the maintenance of this unit. So one thing that we do have that is universal, and we see it in this country with how women in philanthropy work, how women in entrepreneurship work, but it's not just this country. Women in general, across the globe, care about our children. We're nurturers, and so if we can empower the women to take control of some of these businesses and maintaining some of these filters that you'll hear more, that I hope you ask a lot of questions on. We have a huge, passionate group of individuals, and so as those in research are looking at possibilities, we need to look at women and how we view philanthropy, how we view entrepreneurship, and how we view that coming in and improving the lives of our children. So, with that, let's open it up to any questions that you might have on the business partnerships.
Isn't it also appropriate to pair up with the governments of these countries so that this benefit can reach to maximum number of people? Like you're pairing up with universities and different NGOs, and but that is not reaching to as many people as it would be if you pair up with the governments or suggest this to the governments. So is there some plan like that in future?
Let's see, I don't think you could have asked a broader question. Thank you. The answer to that varies very much in country to country. Some countries, they do not care. In some countries, they do not care. Yes. In some countries, the corruption itself makes that very complex. I'm not trying to duck your question, but it really finally gets down to very specific country by country. That's part of the reason for starting with a legal business, because at least you take a piece of ground that you think you can build upon. In the main, thus far, we really ignored the countries. If you take a look at the country of Mexico, for example, they're still in discussion about how to deal with water. They've been in discussion for 4 years now.
I just thought of the question because you showed a graph in the presentation.
Yes.
Where the population is increasing exponentially, and if you want to catch up with that increased population and like the benefit wants to go to maximum number of people, I don't see how like just partnering with universities you can reach the millions of people who want to reach.
Did you get the drift of
I
that?
think he's asking about scalability. If you want to maximize.
Yes. Let's see. Again, thank you. The scalability is to finally, the technology itself scales. It scales both in the output of the device and the number of people that it can serve, but the ultimate scalability has to be through the indigenization of the technology within the country. People at a center where best practices are, where teaching and training takes place, where there is support for the business people that employ it, then it can multiply. And that's we're on the front edge of that right now. Find people who are already on the ground, who already have established relationships, this complements what they're doing. And then do that as rapidly as you can. And remember, this isn't the only technology, and we don't intend it to be. We intend to be very inclusive. There are other technologies, whether it's Living Water or whether or not it's Water Missions International or other groups that bring other ways to get the job done. We just simply picked one that's very close to the bottom that says cheap, clean water.
I'd just add that, I mean, we're small organizations, and only if someone within the network or connections or partnerships, if they have a tie with a key person in the government, then it's definitely worth the time. But for us to go approach the government, in general, we haven't had any success that way. Like, for instance, in Fort Wayne, Project Mercy, they were a speaker at one of USAID's conferences, and they're getting 3 BUVs. Well, then USAID sent some people out for a tour, and had we probably just approached them directly, it probably wouldn't have happened. But with this organization telling them about us, it happened. And likewise, when we're in the developing country, and if someone there is connected with someone in the government, we get things done much faster than if we're trying to find our way through. So it's all connections.